Hey gang, I'm in the tub, and today I'm going to be talking about South Park. Now, South Park is one of those weird anomaly shows like The Simpsons where it's been on forever and it still manages to knock it out of the park most of the time. Uh, Now, I'm not really here to talk about Trey Stone and Matt Parker's accomplishments, even though they totally can knock out an episode in 2 days, which keeps them on top of the social ladder. No, no. I'm here to talk about their Halloween specials. They're all pretty goddamn good. Uh, I'm probably going to work through these as I rank them personally, like not in a real order, just how I rank them personally. There is one that I'm only going to touch upon briefly. That is going to be Hell on Earth 2006. That is out of respect to a family friend because of reference to Ted Bundy. But still going to talk about it a little bit. Uh, I guess I'll jump right in here. I'm going to start with Korn's Groovy Pirate Mystery. Uh, that was the third Halloween special they did. It's pretty good. It's a bit flawed. The thing that really makes it work is the art style. Basically, the main focus is they are doing a South Park Halloween festival at the docks, because they have docks. In this one episode, they have docks. And Korn, the band Korn, is supposed to be playing there, and they actually voice themselves, which is kind of rare. South Park usually doesn't have celebrities voice themselves. But they roll in, and they're drawn like Scooby-Doo characters. They actually drive like a corn van, and they have a little annoying animal sidekick that's like a corn fairy alien thing called Niblet. And yeah, it's silly. It's pure Scooby-Doo. It's kind of wacky. Now the priest in town, his name is escaping me. It's not Reverend Lovejoy. Anyway, he believes that Halloween is evil, and he's trying to turn everyone against Korn. And on top of that, there's all these wacky-ass pirate ghosts that are running around and just destroying things. And there's kind of a fucked up subplot where the sixth graders, these ever-present assholes, they don't steal. They scare the hell out of the boys. So the boys decide they're going to try and get revenge and scare them back. And the best way that they can think to do that is with a dead body. So they end up digging up Kyle's dead grandma because she died like 3 months ago. And they're going to use her to scare the sixth graders, but they kind of can't find her body after they hide it. So there's that going on. Moving on. Nightmare on FaceTime is their most recent one that I can think of. And it's pretty fun. It's New Age South Park, so it's running a little smoother. It loses a little bit of charm because of that, I think. But it's a funny-ass episode. Oddly enough, the main focus is on Stan's dad buying up the last Blockbuster store in South Park. And, he's going to run it with his family. Everything's going to be great. This is, of course, when Blockbuster was going out of business because of Netflix and Hulu and all that. And so basically it's them in an empty store for the whole episode. And it's a big Shining parody. It's amazing. There are ghosts all over the store. Randy is slowly slipping into insanity. There's a lot of S's in that. I like that. That whole plot line is a lot of fun. Like they even go the extra mile. He ends up like trapped in the snow and freezing. It's great. Now the reason why it's called Nightmare on FaceTime is because Stan is unable to leave the store to go trick-or-treating. And him, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny, they all have plans to go trick-or-treating together and win a costume contest at the community center. They're all going as the Avengers. Stan is Captain America, Kyle is Thor, Kenny is Iron Man, and Cartman is the Hulk. But it's fantastic. No one gets that he's the Hulk. They all think he's Bruce Valanche. I Ever since they introduced that joke in the Coon, it's always made me laugh, just comparing him to Bruce Valanche. Uh, there's a lot of just great gags in the episode. Like there's like 50 people going as Psy, the guy that did Gangnam Style, but everyone just calls him Gangnam Style. And there's like 50 people at the Halloween party dressed like that. But one of my favorite gags in the whole episode is, it's not even referenced, it's just something you see. Mr. Garrison is dressed as Ryan Gosling from Drive. And it's fantastic. I love that one. Moving on, this is the one that I'm only going to touch on briefly. It's Hell on Earth 2006. It's a really solid episode. Of course, it takes place around Halloween. They all do. South Park's pretty good about that. It's Satan's birthday, and he wants to host a big birthday bash. And he's doing it in the style of My Super Sweet 16, that terrible goddamn show that was on for a while. And, he rents out a big hotel in LA. He invites a bunch of celebrities, and everything is just perfect. He's being a huge dick about the whole thing. And it's hilarious to watch, because everyone in hell is also invited. And it's people like Gandhi and George Burns and Princess Diana, people that shouldn't be in hell, but they are. Because according to South Park, the only way to actually get into heaven is if you are Mormon. True story. Like Satan himself is Britney Spears for Halloween. That's how fucking ridiculous it gets. The subplot that I don't really want to talk about much involves 3 serial killers going to pick up Satan's cake, which is in the shape of a Ferrari, and it turns into a wacky Three Stooges adventure. It's got its moments, but like I said, out of respect for a family friend, I'm not going to get into it. Meanwhile, the actual kids portion of this episode, there's a weird urban legend going around where if you look into a mirror and you say Biggie Smalls 3 times, he shows up. And Butters tries it out, and and when Biggie Smalls shows up, he's dressed like the Candyman. And it's my favorite part of the episode, that whole weird little plot line. It's a lot of fun. Moving on to Spooky Fish. Okay, this one's number 2. And it's odd because it was actually the second Halloween episode that they did. First off, it was presented in Spooky Vision. And what that actually means is it has a border that says Spooky Vision around it. And it's all pictures of Barbra Streisand in the corners. Right? Terrifying. The episode is pretty straightforward. They discover that Cartman is acting very strangely. First off, he's walking around wearing a goatee all the time. And he's being extremely nice to everyone. But every time they find him without the goatee, he's being a huge dick, as per usual. And it turns out that this Cartman is actually from a parallel universe where everything is different. And so he is technically the evil Cartman from the evil parallel universe, but he's actually a pretty cool guy. Meanwhile, it turns out Stan's Aunt Flo, or is it Stan's Aunt Flo? Either way, it's a period joke, but as a physical woman. It's not Sheila. What the hell is Stan's mom's name? That's gonna bug me. Anyway, Stan's mom's Aunt Flo comes into town, and she usually stays with them for a few days when she's in town. And when she's around, Sharon, that's her name. When she's around, Sharon turns into a huge bitch. Because, it's a period joke. And, she brings presents for Stan and Shelley, his sister. Shelley gets a new, home entertainment center, and Stan gets goldfish. Goldfish, not a bad gift, except this one kills people when Stan is asleep. And he finds their dead bodies in his bedroom in the morning. And Sharon believes that Stan is actually killing people. And it freaks her out really bad. But, she doesn't want to turn him into the police or anything. So she just buries the bodies in the backyard. And even going as far as to, she imprisons Officer Barbrady when he comes to check out the backyard looking for missing people. She imprisons him in the basement, and he's just standing there tied to a post with his pants off. And then never gets addressed why his pants are off. Just never does. Basically, Stan and the gang, and by him and the gang, I mean Kyle, Kenny's already been killed by the goldfish, and Evil Cartman, track down the Indian Burial Ground pet store, which is where the goldfish came from. And then they have to try and figure out how to send everything back to the evil dimension. It's a fun episode, and it's kind of plot heavy for a South Park episode, at least an early one. Now it's time for the best one in the bunch. It's the first one that they did. I think they did it in even season 1 or 2, and it's called Pink Eye. It is by far their best Halloween episode. They have not topped it since. Basically, it's getting close to Halloween, and the Mir satellite, if you remember that thing, the Mir space station, comes crashing into Earth's orbit, and it lands directly on Kenny. And it's the day before Halloween, and he gets taken to the morgue. And, the morticians, they're dicking around, they're getting him embalmed and all that. And one of them puts Worcestershire sauce on everything, and that ends up in the embalming fluid, and that reanimates Kenny. It's really fucking stupid, but I love it. So Kenny's a zombie, and he's walking around town, and he's biting everyone, just slowly turning everyone into the undead. And the town doctor, he's a fucking idiot. He thinks it's all pink eye. So he's prescribing a lot of topical cream. And so it's basically like a plague of pink eye, according to him. And it's got a lot of great gags in it, like Chef is dressed as Evel Knievel. Spoiler alert, at one point he gets turned into a zombie, and Chef always did a bunch of musical numbers when he was on the show, so he does basically his version of Thriller. It's a great little bit in there. They actually borrow from Home Improvement's Halloween special a little bit. Stan is going to school dressed as Raggedy Andy because him and Wendy, his girlfriend, are planning on winning a costume contest. She doesn't go as Raggedy Andy, she goes as Chewbacca, along with everyone else in the class, including Kyle, who gets really pissed about that. So he's stuck holding the bag, dressed like Raggedy Andy the whole time. And, it's shitty. One of the best parts of the episode involves Cartman and his Halloween costume dilemma. He goes to school dressed like Adolf Hitler. And that upsets literally everyone he comes across. Until Principal Victoria gets a hold of him and actually makes him watch an educational video about why dressing up like Hitler in school isn't cool. And there's a Smokey the Bear style character involved in the video. It's really fucking specific. So she decides that she's going to make him a creepy ghost costume. Even though, he doesn't want to change his costume, but she makes him dress up as a ghost. And he doesn't end up being a ghost, he ends up being a Klansman, because the hood points up a little bit. And it's this great gag where they run into Chef while he's dressed like this, and Chef just looks at him and runs away screaming. And Cartman just thinks it's because he's afraid of ghosts. And it's one of my favorite jokes in South Park. It's a favorite of mine. I laugh about it all the time, even when I'm not watching the episode. So, that's going to be it for this week. Obviously, I got Halloweekends and big night ahead of me tonight. Next week, when I get back, I'm going to be starting up. Hopefully this little experiment works. Yeah, there we go. Give me a nice good shot of that. Hopefully this little experiment that I've got going here works, and I'll be back by the time I gotta work. But anyway, next week I'm going to be talking about Halloween essentials. What I mean by that is necessary viewing. yeah, you'll have to wait and see what I got going on there. But basically, it's going to be what I believe to be the things that you absolutely have to watch during the Halloween season. Alright, hopefully I'll catch you guys later. And, you know, if my hypothesis is correct, this should not kill me.